All right, what's going on, y'all? It's Cool Water again with the Ballroom Chats. Really, it's his name I just came up with, but it sounded good, so I rolled with it, you know. But we're doing part 2 tonight of AV Hodges, William&Woodsgroup, and continuing on with his story and learning a little bit more about the business world from self-made entrepreneur AV Hodges. How you doing, man? You all right?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for having me again.
Okay. Yeah, we appreciate you coming back. Like I said, a lot of people was coming back to me, and they kind of wanted us to go a little deeper into you know, some of the information and conversation that we had the other night. So, you know, it was only natural that we kind of got it back up and got it popping again, as they say.
Exactly.
For those folks that may have not heard or didn't hear the first episode, just a quick recap. Mr. Hodges, basically, you know, he told us about his past experiences in the music industry. You know, how he, you know, was living high on the hog, making, you know, $4,000 a day, had an issue with spending, ended up in a shelter in New York City, and from there, you know, gained some other personal life lessons and turned the situation around and went from the bottom to the top, as they say. And, you know, now, you know, kind of sitting at the top of the business world and running several companies that are doing very well, and you know, as they say, becoming a real force in the business world in the New York City, Connecticut area, and throughout the world. So, just to get right into it, because you know it's like we just having another phone conversation and picking up from where we left off. I've noticed myself, as I've been on Facebook and had various people make certain comments about entrepreneurship, what do you think is the reasoning for most, and I'm speaking towards African Americans really at this particular point, why do you think that they are scared of entrepreneurship, or maybe not even as interested in it to help them secure a certain amount of success?
I believe we've been taught as a race to grab that first shiny thing that pops up, and that's usually a job. We've been taught to not take chances and just kind of that guaranteed thing, that guaranteed paycheck, not have to worry about whether or not, you know, you're going to make money next week or next month or, you know, anything like that. You know, that you know, we've been taught to just take what's given to us, and that's kind of what separates a really good business person, entrepreneur, from someone that goes to work every day for someone else, is willing to accept the risk and understand that, you know, I may fail, but I'm willing to go for it because I can't work for anybody else. And I really feel like we have been it's another reason why, you know, people of color don't really save money, you know, because we live in the now, and we don't really think about the big picture. And to be an entrepreneur, you must be able to think and plan for the big picture.
Exactly. I noticed, like I said before, I think that is a topic that doesn't really ring a bell, and you could kind of be looked at as a devil, so to speak, if you know, are a real advocate. I know myself, even with what I'm doing and things that I do online, I kind of, you know, I'm kind of trying to drop a little seed here and there, but I don't see a lot of people resonating to it, and I don't know if it's just because they're not, you know, accustomed to that or whatever the case may be. But one of the things that I wanted to, talking to you was like talking to somebody's brother. And when I met you, we really didn't know each other very well, but you was very open.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you this question because you told it to me, but I want people to be able to know that there are some successful African American businessmen who actually want to see people's success and are somewhat friendly, and it's not the, oh, he got money, oh, you know, he probably won't talk to me, he probably won't be as nice as, you know, my mother or something to that effect. So here's a question that I want to ask you, because you told it to me, and this was relatively early on when I first met you. How long did it take you, well, let me go back. You told me when your wife took over and began to take the leadership role as far as the finances was concerned in the home, that allowed you to go out and build your businesses and make money.
Yes.
And at that point, you told me that you had acquired $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
The first question that I want to ask, how long did it take you to get there? And then the second question I wanted to ask was, how were you able to keep it so that you didn't go back to broke?
Well, first of all, it took a couple years of reinvesting. Not, you know, we wouldn't get a client, and the money from that the client paid us, we go out and buy something with, or go out and pay a bill with. We didn't do that. Whatever the client paid us went right back into the company. You know, I had a 5-year plan because everyone, you know, knows that most small businesses fail within the first 5 years. So I had a 5-year plan. I'm not touching anything for 5 years. We're going, you know, but what happened was it just kind of grew much faster than we expected, so we didn't have to wait to 5 years. As far as keeping your finances, that's a mental process. You know, you have to be mentally strong. You know, the difference is when I had my spending problems when I was younger and I went into the shelter, I was single. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have anyone to no responsibilities other than to myself. And so it's easier just to go spend your money when you don't have to come home and look at anyone else in the face. You know, so that could, you know, you never say never, but that would be very hard for me to go through that a second time, because now I have children, a grandchild, my wife, you know, so I have other people depending on me and other people that I have to answer to, you know, within my household. You know, if our company has a certain number of clients and we have, you know, we don't have any money in the bank, you know, my wife's looking at me sideways. So that mentality of, you know, save first was something I had to change. You know, we don't have that mentality. It doesn't. It's not even in the hood or in the suburbs. It's really across our race. Very few of us have that save first mentality. We have that buy a brand new car, buy the latest fashion, get the latest sneakers. We have that mentality. And once I had to get over that. I had to completely get over that and understand that, hey, I have someone else that, you know, if I don't pay the bills, you know, we suffer. You know, and I was so grateful for how she took care of all the bills when I was trying to build the first company, that there's nothing I could ever do to jeopardize that.
Okay, I understand that. So now, when you reach a certain level of income, your tax bracket goes up as well.
Yes.
Do you, or should I say, how do you counteract that when the government and the IRS or whoever wants damn near 50% of your money? Like, how do you, you know, what moves do you make to keep the bulk of what you're making?
Well, I do invest in certain investments that are tax free. Your IRA, things, you know, your IRA. I had a 401k plan from when I was working, when I was an employer, and when I quit, I kept that and I just rolled it over into IRA. So I came in with some, you know, with that mentality. Also, we have quite a few things that we keep in the name of the LLC, and I pay myself a salary, you know, because we keep a lot of things, and the LLC is a pass-through entity. It doesn't pay taxes. Okay, the individual pays taxes. So I pay myself, and I have to pay my income taxes based on what the company pays me. Okay, so now I just pay myself a certain amount that keeps me in a reasonable tax bracket, and then the company keeps all the funding and has the majority of the funding, but like I said, it's a pass-through entity. It doesn't pay taxes. So what I do is I just purchase things through the company, your car, your home, things of that sort. And now you have to be confident that your company is going to succeed, because if your company goes bankrupt or whatever is in the name of the company goes as well. But once again, that's me looking at the big picture and willing to accept the risk, for a larger reward.
I understand. I know you also told me at one point you was doing like some charity events, and you mentioned, and I actually put this out on Facebook, there were 3 phases to getting the money. The first phase is getting to the money. The second phase is growing the money. And the last phase is giving it away.
Yeah.
Number 1, why in this order? And I'm saying that rhetorically so that the person that don't have a clue can grasp hold of it. And I'll just let you speak on that first. Why in this order? Getting, growing, and giving it away.
Well, you have to find it first of all. And there are a lot of organizations that write grants every day. A lot of philanthropic organizations, museums. There's a lot of companies like Macy's, for instance. They write grants. There's tons of companies that give out grant money because that's how they keep their taxes low, by donating. So you have to do your research. You can find the money. That's not hard. Google is free, so you can find the money. Convincing them that you're worthwhile for a grant. Because the difference between a grant and a loan is a grant is a gift. It doesn't have to be paid back. So you definitely want a grant. You don't want a loan because then there's that pressure for you to be successful to make money to pay that loan back. So you want a grant. Once you do get the money, you want to grow the money. Okay? Once you get money to start your business, you want to be very successful in your business because you want to be able to give back not just to your community but to your own children, your own family. You should always want your children to have a better leg up, a better start in life than you had. And teach them that so they do the exact same thing with their children, so on and so on. That's how you get what they call quote unquote old money. By passing it back down to your to the next generation. And as far as charity is concerned, you have to be charitable because nobody gets to be a success by themselves. You hear the quote-unquote self-made, man or self-made woman. That's kind of a misnomer because no one's the island. Everyone needs someone, whether it's that one bank executive that gives you the okay for a loan, whether it's someone like my wife that was willing to take the burden of paying all the bills so I could start my business. Everybody needs someone. So you have to give back, because you could be that someone that someone else needs. So you definitely have to find the money, do your research, okay? It may take a while to do it, but you cannot get to the money without your research. Once you start your business, have a plan of growing it at a certain percentage per year and try to hit that goal. And then once you get to a certain amount where you feel comfortable that you can live on, and you feel comfortable with your lifestyle, and giving certain money away will not jeopardize that lifestyle, now it's time to donate and time to get back to your community and whatever causes are close to your heart.
Okay. Now, just the other day, and this is still a tagline, a tag along for what we're talking about, I was looking at 60 Minutes, and all of the world's billionaires, multi-billionaires, Bill Gates, the Warren Buffetts, some of the folks from Africa, black guy and his wife, got this fund that they putting this money in to give it away. which is very interesting, you know, I mean, because, you know, that, I mean, they got, I mean, we're talking about lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of the spectrum, Warren Buffett made a comment that, and I've heard also Simon Cowell from American Idol, leaving money to your children, or should I say maybe even leaving it for generations to come, is not necessarily a good idea in some regards. Do you think that is true or distrue or not true? And do you think that is relative per race? Because most black folks,
yes,
we don't have an inheritance.
That is definitely different across the races, because we don't have a legacy or a history of handing money down to our generations. We have a history of handing down bills and debt to our next generation. So that's easy for them to say. You know, that's easy for them to say that. And I know that Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and a few other billionaires have stated that they're going to give away a majority of their money. That's fine and dandy, because they've built something where their child can step in and make their own money because the legacy is there. You know, Bill Gates' son goes to a certain college or goes to a certain company, they're not going to get turned away just because of his name alone. So it's easy to say, oh, it's not good to hand down, a certain amount of money, but believe me, they're not going to leave their child with zero when they pass away. They may not leave, the chunk of their wealth, but they're going to leave them multi-millionaires, most likely a couple billion over. Also, you have to understand there's a system in place that does not want people of color to succeed. It's been like that from day one. And part of that is the media stating things like that. That way we can think, oh, it's okay to spend what we have, not hand it down. Because while they're telling you that, they're saving their money. They're saving their money. While they're telling you to spend yours, they're saving theirs. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you right now, when you become a billionaire, the only reason why they give money away, one reason is, yes, they're concerned and they want to, help out certain situations, certain causes. But on the second side, if they don't donate money, the taxes would kill them. You understand what I'm saying? You have to understand the Microsoft is not an LLC, so they pay taxes. Berkshire Hathaway is not an LLC; it pays taxes. You know what I'm saying? So if they didn't donate money, Bill Gates is worth $57 billion. If he didn't donate money, the taxes would chop him alive. So he has to, and they definitely tell you one thing, but they do something else. So if you really want to know how they think and how they move, look at their finances, look at the numbers, look at their financial situation. Don't just go by what they say.
Okay. Now, you have a daughter, and I think she may be 10, 11, 12?
11.
Okay, so she's 11. How are you preparing her to step into the company that you've built and take over, assets and things of that nature?
Well, since she was 6 years old, she's watched business news channels with me, whether it be Bloomberg, CNBC. At one time, CNN had one, CNN FN. And also, at 11, she designs websites. So she can easily step into our web design agency and take that over, because she's been designing websites for the last 2 years. She writes coding and everything for websites. Also, any client that we get, I discuss it with her. I let her know, hey, we got a new client today. This is what they do. This is what they want from us. And, when the website is done, I show her the website, things of that sort. So I keep her engaged with what is going on from day to day, so she's interested. Also, I let her know this will be yours someday. So it's important for you to pay attention, because this will all be yours one day, and you're going to have to run it. And people are going to answer to you. I also let her know that it will not be given to her, that she will be working there as an employee, until I feel I'm ready to give it up. She's not just going to come in as someone's boss. It's not going to happen like that. She's going to come in there and work like everybody else works, and then she'll take it over. But I've groomed her in the business field for years, for at least 5 years now.
Okay. So she getting her lesson early.
Sure.
How you doing? My name is Rondo Cooper.
How you doing, Rondo? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Dewan, I really appreciate this. I commend you for doing this, man. This is.
Hey, well, hold on. This is my cousin, AV. Rondo, can we hold that question for just a little bit? Or are you in a particular rush?
Nope, I'm not actually. I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, let me roll on, because I do open it up for questioning, and I definitely want to get your question in, but I just I got a number of questions for the brother, so I want to make sure I get most of them as possible, so that everybody can. Okay, yes, everybody can still have the evening, kind of, so to speak. So yeah, hold that for me, man, and then I get you right on in. To the folks that just came on, if you come on *6 to mute, *6 to unmute, I will open it up for questioning. So just give us a little more time, and then what we can do is probably do a two-part. I'll do some questions in the next few minutes and let you get some in early. Then we'll come back and pick up, and then he can go ahead and go on, and then we'll come back again, and then we'll do the last leg of questioning if you have any other questions, that you want to ask this brother here. So I just don't want to drag it too long without getting most of the information out there. So real quick, so we got your daughter on deck. Now, as a business owner and individuals who are starting a business, let's go back to 2008. Let's go back to, a period of bad times, according to the media, according to the real estate industry, things of that nature.
Yeah.
How would someone evaluate what they should do with their business during a bad economy? How do you kind of know when to stay put, when to kind of make moves? What is your advice in that regard?
Well, in that regard, you have to look at the different industries, because nothing goes down all at one time. So when the market was going down, it was the larger companies that were suffering, but there were smaller companies that were making their moves at that point. So you have to do your research and find out what investments are good for such economy, because not everybody lost their money. The millionaires in this country made money. And that's the crazy part, is there are people that came out ahead of the game, and so you just have to know, your different investments, whether it be T-bills, whether it be, rely on your mutual funds, things that grow at a smaller, slower rate, but. They grow at a slower rate, but they're more stable. Okay. Also, cash. You should definitely have cash on hand. You should always have cash on hand. Because certain things you don't know how long that's going to last. And what I would do, like we did, was purchase stocks in a downswing. Because you're getting dirt cheap, of companies that are fundamentally strong. They're just doing poorly because the whole economy is doing poorly. But, someone like an IBM, a GE, an Apple, a Google, those companies are going to do well. That's the country, the world runs on those companies. So when they dip down, snatch them up, because they're definitely going to come back stronger.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, we also, previously, for those folks that just came on, the quick synopsis, if you didn't listen to the first, AV also used to be in the music business. That's kind of where I think he kind of got off and, got to start into a few things. He may have been doing some other stuff, but I know you mentioned the music business. was where you was making, a good little bit of money.
Yes.
How were you able to? You mentioned you had the who's who Rolodex that could have bounced you back, overnight. How were you able to build the platinum list of contacts in the music business that you had and outside the music business? As you was coming up the ladder, how were you able to get these top names? Because, I think last week you mentioned, you and Damon Johns, FUBU, y'all reconnected, so to speak. Y'all, Space Exchange. I know you mentioned to me that, you met some key people in the Goldman Sachs arena. You and Bill Gates have some small relationships, things of that nature. How are you able to get into these circles that you're getting into?
Well, I promoted parties. I promoted A-list parties in New York City and private clubs. These clubs are not these parties. These clubs are not advertised. You're not gonna hear them on the radio. You're not gonna see flyers for them. These are just who's who. They tell each other. Certain people flock together. Millionaires flock together. Billionaires flock together. Athletes hang out together. Models hang with models. And I just lucked out, met somebody on a crane that thought I looked cool, and invited me to a party. I went to the party with a couple of friends of mine, and at that point, the party was, when I walked in, it was the who's who of Hollywood. And it was strange to me because these were people that I seen on TV every single week. And fortunately, I wasn't starstruck. I've never been a starstruck person, so I was able to talk to them. Just like they didn't know who I was. They just assumed if I was in the party, I must have been someone also. So they were open. They were openly talking to me because the only people in there were these celebrities, these athletes, and the wait staff. I wasn't wearing wait staff uniform, so they just assumed I was one of them. So by just rubbing elbows and talking with them and just kind of hanging out, I started promoting parties. I started bringing people to these different parties, cool people, and they liked it. And some of the promoters asked me to get on board. So promoting parties, I started meeting people, and I made sure to get numbers and names. And I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'4", and I weigh over 300 pounds. So I'm a rememberable person. So they remembered me, So I always make sure that I stayed in contact with them, even when I was in the shelter. I stayed in contact with these people. I was too embarrassed to tell them where I was at and what I was up to, but I was smart enough to keep in contact with them and keep my contact list going. And then I also kind of lucked out because one of the guys that I was close to, Robbie Eiler, he played the son of Tony Soprano in The Sopranos, and at that time the show was huge. So, him and I hit it off well, and he was huge. He was getting in every single place, every party, and he introduced me to a lot of people. You have to know how to network. Networking is key. Networking is key. I networked my way into being a success. That's basically how it happened.
I got you. That makes sense. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. We're going to stop for a second and take about 2 or 3 questions, and then we'll pick back up with the interview. So if you got a question, just star 6 your phone, announce yourself so we know who you are, and then you go ahead and ask AV some questions. Rondo, you still on the phone? I might put the phone down. Anybody out there got a question?
Yes. Thank you. Again, like I said, DeJuan, I appreciate you for doing this, man. This is epic, for real. So I like for you to talk more about that strategic plan that you laid out for yourself in the beginning, because a lot of people talk about setting goals and doing some of that plan. If you could talk a little bit more just about that piece, because that was important to me. And then I like the fact how you said that when you came into that party, you just kind of sat back and kind of watched how things were flowing and how things kind of went, and then you just and then you kind of made your move. It's almost like playing chess.
Exactly.
It's like playing chess in a way. Yeah.
Well, number one, when it comes to planning, you must write everything down. It's much easier to accomplish and get things done if you write them down. It could be a simple list of 5 things, but it's easier to keep them organized and in place and know what needs to be done, what priority, in order to be done if you write it down. So whatever plan you have, definitely write it down. Set a goal for yourself. No matter how outrageous it may be, I want to be, worth $50 million in 5 years. Doesn't matter how outrageous it may seem at the time, set a goal and work towards that goal. You cannot share that goal with everyone because not everyone's going to have your best interest at heart. Okay? So there's still some family members and friends that I have that have no idea what I do because it's not for everybody to know. Not everybody is going to praise you, pat you in the back, and say, "Hey, man, you can do it. Keep going." There are going to be some people that look at you like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that? You can't be successful." So you definitely want to plan. You want to write everything down and plan everything from just like you would plan your schedule if you're going on vacation. Well, I want to do this day. I'm going to do that day. I'm going to go swimming here. I'm going to go eat there. Same thing with business. Plan it. Plan it out and make sure you plan in 3 intervals. What can I do this week to move towards my goal? What can I do within 6 months to move towards my goal? And what do I need to be doing a year from now to move towards my goal? And every day, make sure every single day you do something. If it's just one thing, don't be stagnant, don't be idle. Make sure you do something that moves you towards your goal.
Okay. Something to move toward. And then my last piece was: are there any resources out there that you would kind of recommend? Any books or any sites or anything that you would say, take a look at this or?
Well, first of all, the SBA, S as in Sam, B as in Bob, A as in Allen.gov, which is the Small Business Administration. They have a lot of resources on there that I checked out, helping out with minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, with small business loans, which are not as hard to get as a regular business loan. Grant information. Also, as far as reading books, I didn't really read books on how to run a business or how to start a business. I read biographies of successful businessmen and women. My favorite book is the biography of John D. Rockefeller. That's my favorite book because he started from nothing, started from zero. His father left the family while he was a little child on a farm, and he went to grow to the point where the government had to make up monopoly laws to stop him. That's how big he became. The monopoly laws we have nowadays were because he owned the oil business. Your Chevron, your Sunoco, your Mobil gas station, those are all state oil. Those are all his companies, and the government made him break them up. So I read autobiography on John D. Rockefeller. I read Welch. His last name was Welch. He was the CEO of GE. They made GE what it is today. Also, yeah, exactly. So, I try to find the biography or some background on the successful people, not so much on the business, because every business is different,
right.
But certain traits are what you need to run these businesses.
Oh, okay. All right. Man, I appreciate this. Thank you. Okay.
Anybody else got a quick question that they want to ask AV, and then we'll move back into these questionings and whatnot. Anybody else out there want to ask him a question? If not, I'm going to pick it back up and we'll continue on. 2 seconds. Going once, going twice. Okay. Thanks for the question, Rondo. He actually asked you a couple of questions that I already had listed, but we'll definitely reiterate those towards the end. So, as he stated earlier, he was able to get his who's contact together. He got invited to a party. I guess you could say about divine intervention or divine fate, and make moves and connect with those individuals that were in the upper echelons of society and entertainment and so on and so forth, and kept those contacts even when he fell down to the bottom of the barrel. So
exactly. Cool Water. One quick thing. Opportunity comes in different forms. It's not going to come to you and look like an opportunity. It's going to come in different forms. If you remember BlackPlanet.com and Mihente.com, what happened is I met a guy on the train that works for BlackPlanet.com. And BlackPlanet.com actually owns Mihente.com also. He took me to a party. And I went from there. He just thought, hey, he's trying to get people to go to his BlackPlanet.com party. And I went to that one, and we went to an after party. The after party was where the celebrities were, and I took it from there. And I've never seen that guy. I never seen that person again. I've never seen him again since that day. I just never worked my behind off.
Exactly. That makes sense. I can understand that. Now, since you've been able to, and I think I mentioned earlier, you had 3 businesses that I knew of, but you're operating 5.
Yes.
You have 5 companies that you operate. You mentioned that you are not a micromanager type of business owner, but you do have your hands in the business.
Yes.
How do you go about seeking your clients for your different business ventures?
Well, for the web design agency, all of our clients are referral based. We have not did a commercial as of yet. We have not really promoted. We don't really promote, all that much. We stand on the backbone of our business practice, our skills, our customer service. So when a client deals with us, they're willing to refer us to other people because we also have a referral program. So our clients pay a monthly fee. And if they refer someone to us and that person signs up with us, they get a free month. So that's an incentive for them to bring people to us. As far as the clothing, the T-shirt line we have, I still have contacts with people in the music industry, and they always want something fresh and new. And I always have clothing for them to, I always shout out the website, springstreetlimited.com, and they go there and they purchase their clothing. And when you see someone wearing something that you think is cool, you may not tell them, but you'll definitely go find out where it is. So that's the second way we get those clients. As far as the news website, the media website, so talkaboutit.com, our clients are advertisers. And how we get them is by having innovative news, the news that not everyone is talking about, so it's not old and tired and worn out. We'll find the main subject that's hot today and look at it from a different angle. And that's what advertisers are looking for. Especially being a black-owned business, advertisers are trying to get to the urban market like you wouldn't believe. So if you have a viable, half right idea, if you can show them how it's going to get eyes in front of their, on their product, they will definitely pay you. Now, also we have the fourth business. We have a consulting firm, and we get our clients by doing interviews like this. People contact us, and we solidify their budget, see what kind of budget they have, because we don't charge everyone the same. It really depends on the size of your company. We're not going to charge a mom and pop shop the same thing we would charge Microsoft, obviously. So we get clients. Our customer service really, really speaks for itself and draws in a lot of our clientele through all of our businesses.
Okay. You kind of asked, well, I'm going to ask you twofold question. and I guess
Sure.
you kind of answered one of them. Somebody on Facebook just asked me, and you spoke to this before, but can you reiterate it? You say, the difference between you and Damon is he has investors and you don't. And all in-house. Can you re-speak to that? And as far as evaluating the pricing for a particular client, can you kind of give an example of like the difference between the numbers with a Microsoft or Bank of America versus the numbers between small business owner Sally ABCD? How do you say, okay, well, this is the number we charge corporations. This is really what we go after for small business owners, things of that nature. How do you really know the difference between the two? Because I think most of us, being that you got an MBA, you probably have a bigger advantage with understanding the business world. Most of us that don't have that, we play and try to do business off the hip, but we be missing money because we don't really know how to gauge and value, or even what our value is and how to gauge a price towards the particular client. So can you kind of speak to that and kind of speak to why you don't really do the investors like a Damon Johns?
Well, first part of the question, there are two types of business people, and it would be like someone like Damon that takes on investors and clients because it helps you grow your business faster, because that influx of investment money is instant. So while I'm working my way up the ladder, he can get one quick investor and be at the top of the ladder already. Now the problem with that is he has someone to answer to. Mm-hmm. He can't just go and do anything he wants to do, even though it's his name on the front of that office building. It's other people. Diddy has several investors. It's the reason why his clothing line has not fallen like most urban clothing lines, because he has other investors that have nothing to do with hip hop. They just want a piece of urban America, and they have deep pockets, and you don't really hear too much negativity about Diddy in the papers because he has strategic partners. As far as me not having any partners, I sacrificed that quick or that extra large influx of investment to have 100% ownership of what I've worked so hard to build. If anything happens to me, God behold, no one can take anything from my wife or my daughter because I own 100% of my company. So, whatever I pass down to them is 100% theirs. There's no probate court, there's no civil lawsuits, and there's none of that stuff because their name, my wife's name is on all the paperwork as president, and my daughter is our beneficiary as far as life insurance is concerned. There's no third party, there's no investors, no silent partners, none of that. Now, it took me longer to build my company as opposed to Damon, but at the end of the day, I reap what I sow. If I put in 100%, I get out 100%. And I'm willing to, you have to be willing to bite that bullet, because there's some investments, some companies that you want to start that you need investors. You want to start a technology company, pharmaceutical company, you need investors. There's no way you're going to work your way up there. The amount of money needed to start the company is just way too large. But I started homegrown businesses that were able to be started with one person and worked my way up. So neither way is right or wrong. It's just a preference. That's all.
Got you. That makes sense.
And then the second part you're saying, I'm sorry, what was the question in the second part?
How do you gauge what your pricing is supposed to be?
The pricing.
Right.
Well, that is, first of all, you're going to have to set a price on your worth. How, the worth of your time. You're designing websites for a living. How long is it going to take you to design a site? An average site, how long does it take you? what is your overhead? So you have to make sure you're charging enough to clear that overhead. And then what type of lifestyle do you like to live? Okay? If you're that champagne and steak and caviar every night, then your pricing is going to be higher. Now you're going to miss some clients because not everybody can pay that. You know, but if you're willing to be middle class or upper middle class, you can lower your pricing. When it comes to that's how I set pricing based on smaller clients. If I'm dealing with big corporations, I find out what their budget for that particular project is, and then I try to stay under that budget. If Microsoft tells me we need a brand new website and we have a $50,000 budget, I charge them $40,000. Okay. The reason why I do that, number one, is they feel like they're getting a deal, and number two, they may want to add something down the road, and I need to cut into that extra $10,000. If I charge them exactly what their budget is, they're not going to be able to go over that. You know, no matter how big a company is, everyone has a budget. So if they say my budget is $50,000 and I charge them $50,000, I have no leeway. I have no room. You know, so I charge them based off of what their budget is. When it comes to mom and pop clients or one person clients, then I really try to work with them, you know, because they're right where I was, you know, a decade ago. So.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Let's see. Somebody asked me a question on Facebook. You know, I'm gonna ask you this, and then I'll move to the next segment. Let's see. What did she say? I'm curious how he feels about buying into franchises like Wingstop or Marble Slab. Does an established brand decrease some of the risks versus a new business? What you think about that?
Actually, yes. An established brand, if you have the money to put down on a franchise, and that's the way you want to go, if you can get something, you know, that's well known, not just any old franchise, or something that's well known that's been making money for a while, that's self-generated, then you'll be fine. Now you're going to have partners because, you know, you're basically leasing the name of the franchise. You know, and they have certain rules or certain things you can and cannot do. Even though you quote unquote own the franchise, you really don't own it. You're really just a leaser. Exactly. You know, for example, sports. You know, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA. Those quote unquote owners, they don't really own the team. But at any time, if they violate a certain clause, the NBA or the Major League Baseball or whatever, they can take your team from you. Okay? Mark Schott was the owner of the Cincinnati Reds back in the 80s and early 90s. She made some serious racial comments about her own players. And Major League Baseball made her sell her stake in the team. So you got to be careful. When you own a franchise, you got to be willing to go by their rules and willing to understand that they have say. You know, and you're basically leasing their name, and they have a lot of say about their name. So there's no problem with having a franchise if you understand that they are your partners. You don't, quote unquote, own the franchise.
Right. Okay. So that to the person that asked that question, then franchising is not a bad business venture, providing that you get a business venture with a brand that is kind of well known. Okay, so
understand that they are your partners, and their rules. You know, there's certain clauses in those franchise contracts that if you break that clause, they will take that franchise from you.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, here's another question. The word scaling. We hear that term on Shark Tank. You know, can I scale? Can I scale? Can I scale? Now, I know what it means because I actually went and looked it up. I done enough homework. But there's people who probably don't know and who are drifting about trying to build a business and reap the profits of high income. What does scaling mean?
Well, it's different for everyone, but scaling basically means growing your company in different ways, depending on how you're going to scale up. Because every business you want to scale up. Now you're scaling up by reinvesting your income, reinvesting the profits from your business, or you're scaling up by purchasing other businesses that are already established, which will make purchasing your competition, which automatically makes you larger and makes you a more profitable company. So it's different means as far as scale is concerned. In today's business world, there's really no terminology that is the same as what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, because companies are now, like for myself, our web design business is a business disruptor, meaning we don't go by the traditional business book. We make our own rules and do what we have to do, what's best for us. So scaling, there's different ways of scaling. We choose to do it by reinvesting. There's some people choose to do it by purchasing their competition. Things of that sort.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, when you were growing your business and you were out there, I know you mentioned this, but I wanted to ask this question again, and I think my cousin actually hit on it too. What kept you from just being a busy bee, and how were you able to effectively work so that you could see your results or see the results that you were not getting? Like, it's a lot of people that say they grinding and say they getting it and say they coming up, but the results don't never manifest. How was it that you were able, as you was getting, going through this navigational process, how were you able to pull back, check for a minute, okay, now let me get back in the trenches, pull back, what was it, what tools, resources, what mind state, were you pulling from to be able to understand this is what I got to do without just being a busy bee working and not getting anywhere?
Well, number one thing, like I told your cousin, writing things down. So as I accomplish something, I check it off. So that way I'm not running around in circles doing the same thing 2-3 times. As I accomplish something, I just write it down. And then also know that you can't do everything. So one very big skill to have is to know what you don't know, which means understand when you can't do something and need to hire someone else to do it. You can't do everything. No one person can do everything. Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple, did not know how to write computer programming. He knew how to market his products. Steve Wozniak is the one that made the first computer for Apple. He's the one that soldered the motherboard. He's the one that wrote the code. Steve Jobs knew they needed each other because Steve Jobs knew how to market and promote and how to close as a salesman, but he didn't know anything about the inner workings of a computer. Steve Wozniak was a nerd that knew everything about a computer, but didn't like to speak to people. So you have to know what you don't know. Also, listen to your body. Your body will tell you when you're doing too much. Your body will let you know when it's time to get that sleep and time to take some time off. Just last week, I'm not quite sure if you've seen when I posted online, I worked extremely hard Monday through Thursday because I planned on taking Friday off. I had planned it for about 2 weeks. So I was taking Friday, because I don't do anything on Saturday and Sunday. Whatever money is there on Friday will be there on Monday. So I don't do anything on Saturday. Saturday and Sunday is my family day. Those are my family days and days with my friends. But I worked real hard the first 4 days of the week, so Friday I had to myself. I did absolutely nothing. Now, I happened to be sick. I got sick Thursday night, so Friday I was sick, but I did nothing. I watched TV. I watched Westerns all day long. That's what I did Friday. That's because I prioritized and I worked extremely hard Monday through Thursday. I worked a couple late nights, but I really wanted that day off. My wife took our daughter and they went out, and I had the day off. You have to write things down, check them off as you're accomplishing them. Listen to your body. You're sitting in front of your computer, and your eyes are burning. You need to stop. It's that plain and simple. It's not rocket science. Go get some rest. You need your sleep for you to think correctly.
Gotcha. Okay, I got about maybe about 4 to 5 more questions, and then we'll open it up and let anybody that got a question ask a question, and then we'll bring this to a close. We're doing pretty good timing, so that's good. Let's move over to, and I'm going back to the Shark Tank, and then we can even talk presidential candidates. We see individuals in the business world very greedy, very devious, very cutthroat, whether it's on the Shark Tank or whether it's on the podium in front of a presidential debate. What is it, the dark side of business, what is it that makes certain individuals feel that they got to have it all, and how does someone like yourself play defense with a shark that wants to take everything you own? Because, and before you answer that, real briefly, I was talking to a woman. We were talking about the issues in urban schools, because I be in and out, of the schools from time to time. And she told me that her grandmother owned all the land that was right down the street from the high school I was at, where the penitentiary sits on. And naturally, this, had to be sometime probably 1800s, early 1900s, whatever the case may be. Naturally, she got her grandmother got a little bit of money, and, and now the penitentiary is making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars because them brothers is working for pennies. What is it? How do you play defense against a shark? And what and what are some of the dark sides of the business world?
Well, you have to, first of all, know your moral limit. Know what you will and will not do. Okay? Money does not change people. You hear it all the time. Money changes people. No, it doesn't. Money highlights what was already in you. Okay? So if you see someone that's devious and greedy, the money didn't make them like that. They were like that before, but now with the money, they can show it and it doesn't hurt them. You know what I'm saying? If you're broke and you're greedy and stingy, then you have no friends. You have no friends. You probably have no family members that like you. But if you have a lot of money and you're that way, people are still around you because they need you. So money doesn't change. It just highlights the person that you already were. Money gives you the ability to be that person in the open. Donald Trump can say what he says because he's a billionaire. Plain and simple. And he's not afraid to sue you. If he was a regular average Joe, someone would have hurt him a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a regular average Joe. He's a billionaire, and he has a lot of people in his pocket. He knows a lot of secrets. So people just tolerate the idiotic things that he says. As far as dealing with sharks, I'm a shark. I tell you that right now. I'm just not devious, and I'm not willing to do something underhanded and illegal. But when I get into negotiations, I'm negotiating for my daughter, for my wife. So I'm biting your head off just like anyone else. I'm just not willing to be dirty about it. You have to have your moral limit. For example, our web design agency, we do not design anything to do with drugs or anything to do with adult entertainment like pornography. We don't design any of those sites. And we turn down a lot of money daily from pornography sites because they're a few $billion industry. But that's just something I'm just not willing to do because I have to hand this down to my daughter one day. So you have to be willing to walk away from a deal. That makes you a shark as well. Not just closing deals and destroying people, but being willing to walk away from a deal, a multi-million-dollar deal, just because it's just not right for you. I told you earlier, I speak to my daughter about every client that we get. So how do I tell her that, I'm doing a website for someone that gets paid to have sex on screen? You understand what I'm saying? So no. But as far as dealing, I don't play defense. I'm strictly offense. So if I can't close a deal with someone and feel good about it, or if I feel like I have to watch my back, I just don't do the deal. There's plenty of deals out there to be successful that you don't need to close everyone, and you don't need to work with everybody. You know, there's people out there. I'm not an anomaly. I'm not a unicorn. There's other businessmen out there and businesswomen like myself. So there's plenty of people to do business with where you don't have to sacrifice your morals or your dignity or your integrity.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Let's see. Another question that I have is, we hear the stories, and we talked about this early on in the beginning, about a lot of African Americans, they don't save money, or, they got a particular spending habit or things of that nature. But we haven't really talked about other ethnicities, and I'm sure you dealing with a lot of them, especially being in a place like New York.
Yeah.
What do other ethnic groups have over black folks, African Americans, when it comes to doing business? What are they good at? What makes them so much, as they say, the Asians work together, the Koreans work together, the Europeans work together? What is it that makes them supposedly so stellar, but then what is it that we could do better to be even better at the businesses that we're running, if I'm making any sense?
It's very, very simple. Teamwork. They believe in teamwork, and we do not. Plain and simple. We believe that if the brother next to us is making money, instead of us finding out how he made it and let's see if we can get on with him, we either want to take it or we want to hate on him for making it. We either want to hand out. I get a lot of black people that assume they're gonna get a discount because I'm black. What does me being black have to do with my business? No, I'm not giving you a discount just because I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I don't work with family or close friends, so you're not going to get that discount. So that's the thing, teamwork. And it's something else. We know that there's a certain group of white people, not all white people, because one of my closest friends who's like a brother to me, closer to me than my own brother, is a friend of mine, Greg, and he's white, and I call his mother Mom. He called my mother before she passed away Mom. So it's not all white people, but there's a certain group of white people that tell us things about ourselves that they want us to believe, and we believe it. If you look at all around you, white is supposed to be good, black's supposed to be bad. The guy, the cowboy that wears the white hat is the good cowboy. The cowboy who wears the black hat is the villain. Daytime is supposed to be when you have fun and joyous and everything is great. Nighttime is when you lock your doors and you're in the house safe. It's subliminal messages all around you, and we buy into that. Other ethnic groups do not buy into that. They let those people talk and run their mouths. They say yes and yes and yes, and then nod their head, but they do what they got to do behind their back. They stick together, and they pool their money together, and that's what we do not do. That comes from also no other ethnic group has been through what we've been through in this country. We were purposely mind raped. We were brainwashed on purpose. A lot of groups came in behind us that didn't have to go through that because we had already gone through it. A lot of laws changed because of what we went through, so therefore they didn't have to go through it. Now that's not their fault; they're taking advantage of it, which they should. But we still have a slave mentality. We have. That's why they broke up the black family. So we couldn't group together. We wouldn't know our roots. So the person that taught us how to read, they would whip them or kill them in front of us. So we were afraid to read. So our great-great-grandparents didn't pass reading and education down to us because it was illegal and deadly for them. You understand what I'm saying? So we have a mentality that we don't work together, and teamwork is the simplest thing, but it's the hardest thing as well. And on the other side, and that's the only thing we work together. And we get 10 of us together and put a couple dollars together. Can we not buy an office building? Can we not buy an apartment building? and then keep growing, and bring in more partners? Why not? White people do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
They're called hedge funds. They do it every day, and they're private.
Mm.
That's the thing. They're private, so they don't have to tell anybody anything.
Mm.
So I mean, it's all about teamwork. Like these people that are on the call right now. If everybody say, you know what, I'm gonna take $500 and put it in this pool, can you guys not start an investment club with that money? And everybody take a percentage of the profit and leave the rest in the club. It's just simple teamwork. That's all. It's a cliche and it's corny, but teamwork makes the dream work every time.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of what I was speaking of yesterday when I did, and I think, the topic may be offbeat for a lot of people, but the African American Holocaust, entrepreneurs Holocaust, who killed the black entrepreneur, because I think that level of education is so needed so that people can get the history and start to move past some of these subliminal paradigms that have been placed on us for so long, because it's imperative that we build as a team. I mean, that's really the only real way, for folks to see, some of the fruits of their labor that they want to see, rise the way they want to see it. And just real quick, and then we'll open it up. You mentioned that when you run up on African Americans, a lot of them feel that services should be free or at a discount. How do you stand your ground? Because some people may get emotionally pulled in, because we're a strong group of people. We talk bad on you, doing this, doing that, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Well, why not? You know what I'm saying? We boys, or, why not, so-and-so down the street charging this, that, and the third. How do you stand your ground so that they see your value?
Number one, I make sure that we have the best services out there. So even if they choose to go to someone else down the street, they're getting a lesser service because we're the best. So I make sure that our service cannot be denied. Our customer service is impeccable. We're an award-winning company, so that's number one. Number two, I explain to them. I just explain to them, listen, this is not a game. I'm not taking the money that you pay me and go buy some, a couple 40 ounces, or a few beers, or some wine. I feed my family on this. And the same way you treat T-Mobile, the same way you treat William&Woods. And I explain to them, if they don't understand it, I say, well, thank you very much for the opportunity, but I'm going to go this way. And that's it. I don't get upset. I don't harp on it. We have a mixture of clients, different ethnic backgrounds. And unfortunately, a majority of the clients that are late with their payments are black clients. And I think that comes because they know it's a black-owned company, and we don't respect each other the way we respect other ethnic groups. A white guy walks into an office building, he'll get yes sir, no sir. What can I do for you today, sir? If we own the business, we'll treat them differently. A brother walks into our business, yo, what's going on, man? What can I do for you? What do you want? We don't even speak to each other the same way we speak to other ethnic groups. We were taught to not respect ourselves, therefore we can't respect anyone else. And that's the thing right there. So it's all about having the best service. Make sure you have the best product or service available where they have to use you. And if you got to the point where they have to use you, where they have to meet your terms then. And if they don't want to, don't get upset. Don't be like, oh man, he's trying to dog me because we're both black. He's trying to take advantage of me. That's fine. That's not your concern. That's their concern. You go on to the next client. That's it.
Got it. That works. Okay. If you have a question, *6 to unmute, *6 to mute. If you have a question for Mr. Hodge, feel free. We'll take a number of questions and then get the closing remarks and let him, give any advice, and then I'll say my last little spiel, and then we'll close it out. We're doing pretty good time. It's 9:15, so that works. So if anybody has a question, go ahead and *6 to unmute your phone, and you can ask him any question that's on your mind. Anybody got any questions? Now, for me, and I'm going to say this because this is a statement, And I really didn't have the intention to do any interviews initially. You know, when I started doing my podcast, mainly for me to express myself, but then it was also another way for me to provide content to what I was doing, you know, which is, you know, another portion of the leg of my business with the blog and publishing ebooks, podcasting, so on and so forth. So it's, you know, the tornado was being built. And then, you know, I actually follow some guys, one white guy in particular, you know, who is pretty up there. And I, you know, started listening to some of his interviews. I said, well, man, I definitely need to reach out to some of the brothers that I know, you know, who doing it big, and those that I know may be on the rise. So that's why I brought this out and tried to do something to this effect. So, you know, please take full advantage, you know, of this brother's brain, because there's not a lot of people you can get this type of conversation from that's at the top of the food chain, that's dealing with folks like a Bill Gates, a Damon Johns, you know, folks at the J.P. Morgan and Chase vice presidents and office like these. I mean, you know, you're not meeting these type of people on the street. You know, you wouldn't know him if you seen him because you think he was a regular dude. So, you know, if you got a question, please, you know, ask him something, man, that may be pertinent to you, that's burning, you know what I'm saying? I know one young lady, when I made the comment about, you know, the listening, you know, a lot of people be in and out and they got stuff going on, but, you know, I know the comment was made, well, you know, you just got to do it. Yep, but how do you do it? You know what I'm saying? You can do it drifting aimlessly, or you can do it strategically and get to where you need to be. It's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you got somebody at the helm that's able to kind of give you that type of wisdom so that you can, you know, not hit those brick walls, it may be the difference between you getting there in 20 years versus you getting there in 5 to 7. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, so if you have any questions, go ahead. If not, you know, I'm gonna move on. Last call. Anybody got any questions they want to ask AV? Okay. Well, AV, again, if you want to give any advice, you know, leaving somebody who's, you know, trying to make a new move, trying to figure it out, please, you know, give us some advice. And also, I know you mentioned earlier some of the readings that you may read to aid you in your success. If you could give a, you know, few examples of some of the people that you have read their autobiographies.
Okay, so first of all, let me just give you a rundown of some of the books. You want to read the biography of Jack Welch, who was the former, he's retired now, he's the former CEO of GE. He's the one, you know, anyone knows GE makes light bulbs, electric company. Well, he's the one that got them into the financial industry. He's the one that got GE into making engines. You know, they make engines for fighter jets and airplanes, things like that sort. He was the one that grew the company like that. Also, the autobiography of, or the biography of John D. Rockefeller. I particularly like that one because he started from nothing, literally started from nothing, and grew into one of the most powerful men in the history of the world, actually, not just this country. Read Oprah's biography. Forget what the media says about her. Forget what jealous black people say about her. Read her biography, and you'll have a totally different perspective of her because she went through quite a lot. She went to visit with her mother. She went to go visit a friend of her mother's when she was a child, and because she was dark-skinned, the friend would not let her sleep in the house. She had to sleep on the porch. And her mother did not want to offend the friend because the friend was white, and she let her daughter sleep on the porch. And Oprah said that's something she never forgot, and it drives her to this day. You know, imagine your friend not wanting your child to sleep in the same house as them just because they're dark-skinned, and they had to sleep on the front porch. You'd imagine yourself letting it happen. You know, because you value that friend's friendship because they're white more than your own child. So that right there. As far as advice, number one, like I said before, I say it over and over again, write everything down. plan and write everything down. Something else that's very important that I haven't mentioned, your team. Your team must be on the same page as you, have the same fight and desire that you do. Your team could be one person. It could be your spouse. It could be your brother. Or your team could be a group of people that you grew up with that are working towards the same goal as you. But make sure your team is as driven as you are, because there are times when you're tired and you don't want to do something, that team will motivate you. You know, let me just give you my websites. Our web design agency is william&woods.com. It's William and the word and Woods, like Tiger Woods.com. Our T-shirt line is springstreetlimited.com. That's springstreetlimited.com. Our consulting firm, we're working on the website right now, so that will be back up next week. That's avwoods.com. AV, A as in Alan, V as in Victor, woods.com. That will be up next week. And the final website is our media website, sotalkaboutit.com. So that's sotalkaboutit.com. That's a media blog. And if you guys have any more questions, you can definitely email me at av@williamandwoods.com. That's av@williamandwoods.com. I'm always willing to answer questions. I'm confident in my business skills and the success of my companies, where I'm not going to hide any answers from you guys. Well, I can't tell them this because they'll grow bigger than me. I know what I do, and I'm confident in what I do, so I'm willing to help others. So that's about it. You guys have any questions, please email me. You can hit me on Facebook also, facebook.com/William&Woods, and also twitter.com/William&Woods. So any questions, let me know. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming back out again. And to the folks that did chime in, definitely, I appreciate you all coming in. On the first one, he kind of hit me with we can do it, in the next couple of days. And I was like, well, damn, so I said, well, let me try to get see if I can get some folks to jump, and I asked some folks to jump. So that was good. I think some folks jumped again tonight. When you're a fish out of water, everybody ain't going to come save you. So, I know, I may be a little idling unto myself, but to the folks that want to get at me, if you got any, other questions as well, naturally, you can find me at Coolwater101 Facebook, Coolwater1 on Twitter, Coolwater1 101 on LinkedIn, and Google Plus is Mr. Alexander. And then check me out. Like I said, I'm going to do probably 3 series of the African American Entrepreneurs Holocaust. It's a tough subject matter. It ain't real peachy and creamy, but it's something that, I think is needed. And, some people need to, at least get a little history in regards to capitalism as it relates to the world and the global stage. So that's why I kind of put that out there. So again, man, I appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming out, and we'll get back at him in the future. I know he got a book in the works and a few other things, and then we'll touch bases again, when all that's done, and kind of, rekindle the flame, and hopefully we'll have a larger crowd, and more people will, want to get at him and ask him, a lot more questions. So I appreciate y'all, and everybody have a good night. Peace.